Welcome to Shade and the City. I'm your girl Treese.
It's no.
And today, y'all, we are here to get into none other than the love that happens after the lockup. This is season 6, episode 20. This is the finale, okay? And this is Vows and Vendettas. All right. Did we see any Oh, Latisha. Okay. I was like, where were the vows? Okay. But yeah, y'all. So if you have not already, all of our Shade Squad and our new viewers, please go ahead and hit that like button.
And that subscribe button.
And y'all, let's get right into it. And let's get shady.
City lights drip on the skyline painted. Shade in the city, true hits like a banger. I said it, I meant it, no need for disclaimers. Haters right away, but they just false claimers. Concrete beats are heavy like cinder. Looking for one, but the streets feel winter. No filters, no edits, I'm raw with my splinters. My life a movie, they watching a trailer. Said it, I'm not gonna hold you. Shade in the city, that vibe in the mold. You like and subscribe if you feeling the vibe. This is my word, I just let you inside. I said it, I'm not gonna hold you. Shade in the city, my words gon' console you. Like and subscribe if you feeling the vibe.
All right, let's start with the foolishness. So first is Brooke and JK. Now we know Brooke then went down to JK's mama's house to go bam on her door. And basically, you know, the police done pulled up because they outside being ignorant in the middle of the night. Nobody likes that, right? So after, you know, the police leave them alone and JK and Brooke assure them that everything is okay. And sure it probably would have went differently if they were black, but anyway, so JK reveals that, you know, Alex is pregnant and it might be his baby. So now Brooke feels like, oh, so now you out here, you know, you out here making me look like a fool. And I said, no, that was on you. I mean, he helped, but that was all on you. Before he even got out, we told you looked like a fool, but you did it anyway. And then the fact that we'll get there, I ain't gonna jump ahead. All right. So then we see Brooke slap the dog out of JK, and JK calls her a stupid bitch. Okay. Brooke says, you know what? I'm done. I'm ending the relationship at this point. I have been embarrassed enough and made a fool of my damn self and let him make a fool of me. And so, of course, she goes back to the car sniffling. And then JK comes in the house talking to his mama. He's like, you know, I can't stand that hoe. And he was like, she trying. And so his mama was like, you know what? Keep messing with her, you're going to go back to jail. You need to leave her and Alex alone and find your way. It's your life together. JK's like, you know, basically Brooke has went too far at this point. So then I love this scene where we see Brooke take her boys out to break the news. She took them out for ice cream, yogurt, whatever that stuff is, I think. Froyo, whatever. So she take them out and she's like, hey, you know, I just want to break the news that, you know, me and JK, we no longer together. They like, good. He won't really doing nothing, no way.
And he's a rug addict.
Right. They're like, he's a rug addict and you're not, mom. And they were like, you're too good for him. And I was like, damn. And so she's like, oh, I was so surprised because here I am trying to force this man into your lives. And they said, nah, ma, we good. We ain't really like the way he was treating you nowhere. He ain't really do nothing for you. So she said, well, you know, I just wanted y'all to have a male figure. And they said, and it wasn't JK. We see JK fishing, okay, by himself. And he said that he's reached out, you know, to try and spend some time with the boys, even though things have ended between him and Brooke. But obviously he hasn't heard anything back. She has left him on red. He claims that he was really trying to be a good man, but you know, he's a player and he has to crush a lot. Okay. So he said Alex is still out here playing games, and so he ain't got time for her because she actually upped her standards. And her bar is not so far in hell that she will accept you. And Brooke, in our what's the word that I'm looking for? In our follow-up update, that's what I'm looking for. And then they let us update us and let us know that Brooke has decided to move to Galveston, Texas, where she got a job at a daycare center. And she happens to be on the phone with another inmate on her drive there. And apparently she's talking to several inmates at a time at this point. And I literally just said, oh, you don't learn. And you got these boys. Second of all, no shade. I don't know if after watching this show, I don't know if I would want you watching my child. You can work at my child's daycare center. And especially since I seen how unhinged you can get to.
Maybe she just does reception.
My child wouldn't go there. I would unenroll them immediately. I said what I said. All right. Let's move on to Nels' favorite. I literally have 2 scenes for them because I'm over them. I'm done. I just want it to be over.
So yeah, we know we left off with Quiana and Jamal a little date. After the date was over, he gets a text from Jawalia telling him that if they want the charges dropped, Quiana needs to meet him. I'm sorry, meet her at an address that she sent. So Jawalia said that, if their kids are going to be around Quiana, she wants them to get to a clear understanding instead of them being mad about, behind some man. So Juela's sitting there waiting for them while Quiana said, yeah, they ain't going. Okay. And she said what she said.
Right.
Okay. Damoderick is worried that, things could really go left and get worse with Jawalia with them not showing up. So Jawalia doesn't know, she said she doesn't know what she's going to do about the charges. And Quiana feels like Jawalia,
I'm mad she paid for that Uber there and back only for them not to show up.
well, I don't see why she didn't take her car.
I was thinking that same thing, but I
maybe,
said
maybe her tags are still dead.
that might be it. That might be it. That's literally what I was thinking.
Maybe you shouldn't be going out eating then.
Okay. Right. You clearly you need to be spending. Well, you saw she ain't order no food. She just ordered one drink. That's all she had. She didn't even have her a good appetizer, nothing.
I mean, that Uber money costs too, so maybe you should have been putting that towards it too. But Quiana feels like Jawalia has said enough to her, and there's really nothing else to be said, and feels like this could be another one of her schemes.
Mm-hmm.
I was just waiting for you to say it, Tracy.
Well, which one? That Jawalia set up to come to us with the bullshit. Shout out to Amber.
But she said as far as the Madrid goes, she sees a happy future for them. Then while she's in the confessional, Jawalia shows up at her door asking to talk. And they got into a little back and forth, but she said there's no point in talking to her. She had him once, that Jawalia had him once, and she has him forever. And she ain't letting go. Girl, she had him more than once. Yeah, I broke up God knows how many times. Jawalia said that they can stay together for a lifetime if they want to, but Damoderick is still gonna try to bang her. Okay. He even sent her a text that morning asking if he wants her to stop messing with him. I'm messing with her. And she said yeah, because she ain't no side piece. Then we see the update is Quiana and Damoderick. They still live together. Jawalia and Damoderick only communicate to co-parent, and she has dropped the charges against Quiana, and the case has been dismissed.
As we know, they still together, obviously, because I literally was on TikTok the other day and they was live walking around doing something. So I guess kudos to y'all. Y'all make it last. All right, so let's move over to these two. Love After Lockup, WeTV. Y'all didn't get the memo? Because I at y'all every time I tweet and push this out on Twitter. And y'all didn't get the memo that we said that we was done last week. We should have been done 2 weeks ago with these people. And you got the nerve. Again, this is another scheme that y'all set up to come to us with the bullshit. All right. So Will and Courtney still in this interview room going back and forth. Courtney tells production that basically she met the guy that dropped her off. The guy that dropped her off just last night. Okay. It don't tell you. She said, I'm here for a short time, not a long time. Okay. So Will reveals that, well, damn, we just smashed the other day. And Courtney said, okay, so you done crying? You finished or you done? I'm just wondering. We not together.
She's like, I give it up to everybody. What make you so special?
Right. And so so production is like, so what happened after you ripped up the divorce papers? And Courtney says, well, Will showed up at my house. We got busy. And then Will said he got kicked out of her house by her roommates because apparently there was some type of disagreement and he was disrespectful. And he says Courtney didn't have his back. I personally think you don't go over to somebody else's house and start no ish. So I was with Courtney. That's where I stay. And you divorcing me? Yeah, you got to go. Right. So
and refused to help me pay for any of this where I live at.
Right. So Courtney knows, you know what, we're just in this toxic cycle. You know what I'm saying? I like to make up sex. It's real good. So Will was like, I just feel like I'm her ATM. And Courtney said, well, what did you expect dealing with somebody in prison? Like, what did you think you was gonna get? And I said, well, you might have wanted to put a little more thought into that, Will. So Will was like, have you ever cheated since we've been dating? And I was like, why is this even relevant at this point?
Exactly. Isn't that why you left her? Isn't that why you got what filed for divorce? So what difference does it make what she says now?
Right. And so Courtney denies ever sleeping with Mark, but says that you know, as soon as Will broke up with her, she did go find somebody to sleep with. Because like Nell said, she for everybody. Okay. And she blames it on her being mad. So Will wants to know, well, who? And Courtney said, we are not together. I am not giving you no explanation. And so then she tries to lecture him on, well, you gave up too soon. And Will was like, and so Will gives her back that same energy and reminds her how much lack of effort she put into the relationship. And I said, touche, Will, touche. So Courtney says, you know what? I feel like I've seen your true colors shining through. I see your true colors, and that's why I hate
I
you.
was going to say, this don't really go, but
Right.
yeah.
And she says she's just happy that she's over, right? And so while Will, of course, remains crushed in the situation, and he heads back to California, he plans to throw himself a divorce party. Courtney says she never expected all of this to go down the way it did, but she learned a valuable lesson that she needs a male and not a bitch. Okay. And then Will said that he is, you know, they update us. He is back on the dating scene. He's dating people that aren't in costumes and not in prison. And Courtney has a new boyfriend whose name is not Mark.
Right.
And again, really, I mean, WeTV, you could have gave us back that 5 minutes of our life.
They could have just did it how they did Bianca and just gave the update.
Yeah. Thank you. Look at Nels. Is she helping y'all with y'all production?
Yeah.
You could Zelle, cat. It's running it down at the bottom of the screen. The Cashapp. You could send it there.
Troy and Zeruiah. So we know Troy and his mom, Karen, they get to the house. Immediately she noticed Zeruiah's belly. And you know, she said that she told her because she was like, oh, y'all telling me because y'all want a babysitter? I said, ma'am, absolutely not. And look, especially after that comment she made, ma'am,
Right.
you
Oh,
can't be
right.
you can't be around my child alone.
Okay. Right.
So Troy and Karen, they go outside to have, you know, a moment, and he's excited about the baby, but upset that his father is not going to be there to, you know, experience it with him. He told him that, you know, he's watching over you and he's loved you, and you out here making it seem like you've been lacking something. And she told him that basically while he was locked up, she stayed there with Yana and took care of his daughter. And he was like, well, that's what you were supposed to do. You don't get a prize for that.
Right. You saw my grandma. Well, no, I will say that's inaccurate, and you're blessed to have that.
Absolutely not. That's not her job. And she said, no, I didn't have to do that. I do have 15 grandkids.
Right.
Okay. I did it because I was able, but no, I don't have to. So, you know, he says, regardless, he wants to put everything to the side and wants her to be a part of her grandchild's life. She told him to stop telling people that she don't love him. And he said, you know what, you can't tell people how to feel. And he said, I apologize if I wasn't there for you when you needed me. And she said, well, I didn't need you. Okay, because I'm a bona fide hustler. And I'm going to get mine. So back in the house, Zeruiah told Troy that she's glad, you know, that he brought his mom so they can clear the air. And Karen told her the reason why we didn't have no conversation was because you was too busy being nosy with what me and Troy had going on. And then in the next breath tells her she should have gotten middle of their stuff. Okay. And basically Zeruiah was like, you don't know what type of private conversations we have. And she was like, well, if you was telling him, he wouldn't be out here still acting crazy. And then said that they were trying to make her look crazy by not telling her about the baby sooner. So Zeruiah basically said, you know, you are completely forgetting all the stuff you put me through. And I'm the one that decided.
Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot to flip your picture. Zeruiah actually looked pretty right here to me. I don't know if it's because her skin is clearing up or what, but she actually looked good to me. And I don't ever really say that about her, but she looked pretty right there, in my opinion.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Damn.
So, she's like, basically, I'm the one that said that you should come here so we could tell you. And then told her that the real issue that she was having was with her and Troy and the way he feels and how, basically they both feel differently, but two things can be true at the same time. So after the sit down, Karen said that she really didn't trust Zeruiah. But, after being in their home and seeing her son happy, that's really all that matters. And then said, she's glad that her son is happy, but she gonna keep her eye on Zeruiah. Okay. So then she saw the sonogram picture and then gonna talk about how big the little baby's manhood is and talking about how she gonna tell all her friends and she ain't never seen nothing like that before in her life. Ma'am. Yeah.
I'm gonna be very honest with you. I understand sometimes we do things and it's TV and whatever, but and I'm sure they've let worse slide, but it's just very interesting to me that we TV would actually let that hit the airwaves. Like all the things that could have hit the cutting room floor, and you let that slide through.
I think that I don't see anything wrong with them showing that because it shows maybe we haven't seen everything, but they do have valid reasons for not necessarily wanting Karen around all the time.
Right.
So
talk about, and I wanted to say this last episode, and I might have said it. Where is your son? We haven't seen him since episode 1.
Maybe he's staying in his room. I mean, they discussing.
I bet he do. In his room at his grandma's house. That's why.
You so silly. So the update is Troy and Zeruiah continue to mend their relationship with Karen. Baby Troy is staying with them for the summer while they plan for their son's arrival.
Let's go through this real quick because again, this is another scheme that was set up by Justine and Michael.
It ain't broke. It ain't happening.
Like I told Nels backstage, I personally feel like ain't nothing really wrong with Justine and Michael for real. I think that they didn't have a storyline outside of the kids getting ready to go to college and all that other stuff. So they came up with this fake wedding storyline, knowing good and damn well they ain't have no money to pull it off. And this obviously was supposed to create friction and whatever. But again, I didn't ever believe that they ever really had any problems. So basically, finally, after Justine meets with her mom, she realizes Mike is kind of stressed out, and he talks about how like, oh, it'd be so easy for him to go back to the streets, and he feels bad that he literally had to call his mama for $1,000 just so they could get through this trip, which is beyond me because whatever. This is what they trying to sell us. I'm not buying it, but this is what they're trying to sell us. Okay. So that's when him and Justine go into a store to buy expensive souvenirs, which is nutty to me because if you only got $1,000 to get you through the rest of this trip, why are we buying these souvenirs?
Because he was gonna keep up the lie.
And if I'm not mistaken, I feel like they didn't walk out the store with nothing. Once he said
once he said that,
right.
She's like, all right, well, let's just go to the show because I already bought the tickets. But yeah, he's gonna keep up the lie. So that's why they still went in that damn store.
So yeah, basically he finally decides to break the news to Justine that we ain't broke, but we ain't got it like that. All right. We definitely ain't having no wedding no time soon. Not in the park, not around the corner, not at the church office.
We just don't do it after dark.
Okay. We ain't got it. But Justine's like, what do you mean? And so he basically tells her that I guess one of their cars that, they run in this car business, luxury rental, needs some work and they can barely afford it. And they really need to put that money back into the car so they can get it rented, obviously recoup their money. And he just feels like the wedding is a bad investment because there's no return. And Justine was like, yeah, I won't return home. That's your return. And I was like, well,
you don't have the money to invest anyway.
So that was the crazy part. So I literally, while I was saying it, I was like, well, that makes no sense because it sounds like you have no money either way.
The math, it may be just
you sound frustrated. You can
I would have had questions, and maybe I wouldn't have asked them on camera. Maybe
Right.
Justine decided, you know what, I'm gonna wait till we get back. Well, you know, we're gonna enjoy this trip, whatever. But the
Mhm.
math ain't math. And how did we sit down to have a conversation about starting a barbershop business that you're going to invest $100,000 into, and now you putting $35,000 into fixing a car broke us. Now we have
That
less.
that would have
Now
made
we have
she.
less than $15,000. What is happening? The math ain't mathing.
Well, she did was like, well, how was we supposed to get this whole, like Nell said, how was we supposed to? And finally he said, well, I didn't do in the barbershop. And so I think that
How
made
are you even in talks about it?
it sound like he just
Knowing
like,
that you,
if this is
and
if
you're
this is a
talking
true
about
story,
$100,000
if this is a true story, it just sounds like he likes to talk.
and getting all these people involved. Like I don't understand. I don't understand. If anything would have pissed me off, it would have been that.
That you tried to play in my face like that.
Like, not even just me, like everybody. We sitting down having a whole meeting. We got into an argument about the fact that
You
we
got
weren't
your whole family
we're
around
not
here.
investing into our wedding, and instead we're going to invest into this business that you ain't even have the money for.
That's why I don't believe. That's why I don't believe any of that. I don't believe any of that.
That would have been the first thing that came. So wait, so how were you going to invest $100,000 and now $35,000 is killing us?
And I'm gonna be honest with you, and I mean, I get this is why I don't believe the storyline, because to your point, if I figure out you've been lying to me and playing in my face, and we over here going to venue, like you've literally been playing me. We're going to look at venues and stuff that you can't even really talk about right now because
Mm-hmm.
we don't have the funds.
Mm-hmm.
This show, you, we wouldn't have been loving on each other after this.
And that's what she said. She said, like, she was frustrated because now she's envisioning this room that she's going to have her wedding in because we went to
Right.
go look at it, and we never had the money. We shouldn't have took the trip to New York.
Sure, in the first place, right? Yeah, y'all. Let's get into.
You know what? It reminds me of a saying that you used to say, "Build me up to let me down."
Okay.
Like, what?
I just, and you know me, that's a trigger for me. I
Mhm.
would be livid if you have me going to look at venues and do all this and you know you ain't got it.
Exactly.
This is just for the hell of it.
We booked flights,
You not even that,
hotels.
you have your family. You had, remember the dad found that place for them. So he got his family in on it. It's just the level.
And really, it's not even given that they got 15K, because why? If that's the case, why you ask your mama for 1,000? It was given. I'll give it back to you when I get back home and I get my check. Like when I go back to work and I get my check, because if you still even got 15,000, you don't, and you're going to easily replace it. Why wouldn't you just take it out the
Now, don't
15,000?
get me wrong. I'm not saying, you know what I'm saying, you might have a little bit too much fun or whatever the case may be and run low on some money. But again, to your point, New York ain't cheap. I don't know how many more days you there, but it sounds like you need to be on the next thing back home. That's what it sounds like. And save the little bit of coin you got left. Or whatever hotel you staying in. And matter of fact, I don't even think we saw them. Were they in a hotel? They probably staying with family.
No, they were in a hotel. Remember, they were in a hotel because I think her mom, Sherry, stayed in the same hotel. Remember, they went downstairs to the lobby and had drinks and were having the conversation.
If he wanted to play in her face, oh, I really want you to get to
With
know
her
my
mom?
family. Why don't we?
No, because that makes him look stupid, right? That makes him look stupid for his family. But you brought my mom, who really has all this judgment about me
Right.
already, and who's had $100,000 wedding,
Mhm.
bringing her along for the ride, and knowing that we can't do nothing.
Right.
That would have pissed me off.
Even, and now it makes sense why he was in his feelings about that dinner, because he really probably did not have it to pay it.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's move on to the vows of the show.
Latisha and Keith.
Now, I will say Keith redeemed himself this episode. I liked what he did. I even teared up a little bit. I know Chanel's not surprised, and neither are
I'm
y'all.
not. It is crazy because I'm the one that's pregnant.
Probably.
I don't understand. So yeah, Keith and Latisha. So after the whole thing about, you didn't remember asking me to marry you and all that other stuff, basically he called Marsha to come get him because he was like, yeah, she's making this whole big scene. She doing too much.
Even that part I liked. Even that part I liked. I'm not about to play this game with you. I just got out of jail. You up here acting an ass. Marsha, come get me.
You know what though? I appreciate Marsha because I did like that he called Marsha, but I thought that when he got with Marsha, Marsha was gonna solely take his side. And that wasn't the case.
Right.
But anyways, she was like, "No, you ain't going nowhere. I'm your wife. You coming home with me." And she's like, "You're supposed to run to me." And he said, "Listen, I'm on papers." And she said, "So am I." Yeah, Bookie, but you didn't do the time that I did. Okay,
Okay.
clearly you don't give a damn about you being on papers. All right. So Marsha pulled up, he jumped in the car and left. Okay. So he's in
He
the
said,
car.
I'm speeding. Hey,
Agreed.
I'm
And they really
speeding.
did. They took off.
Right.
Okay. So he's in the car explaining to Marsha that they were talking about doing a vow renewal for their anniversary. And he's like, that like their anniversary is in 2 or 3 days. He's like, we ain't got no time to plan. And we really trying to save money. And he really wants to do it the right way. So Marsha explains to him that a vow renewal is not like some big, huge wedding. It's just saying some vows. And if you mean everything that you're saying, why
Right.
you want to do it? But I wouldn't be surprised if Latisha talked to her about it first.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm
Just
sure.
based on the idea that that's what she wanted.
Right.
And he said, you know what, he just needs to clear his mind. So she told him, listen, figure it out.
Okay. Happy wife, happy life.
Because that's what she wants. I said, oh. Then Keith got back home, and of course, Latisha got a little attitude still. And he basically told her that she was doing too much. And he explained that he was confused about the whole vow renewal thing. He thought that it meant that they needed to have a whole wedding. They already have so much going on. So she said, today was supposed to be a happy day. And he was like, well, we can switch it around, girl. I'm crazy about you. I love you. I don't want nobody else. He said, I'll marry you 3 times. Okay. Then got down on one knee and asked her to marry him again. And of course, she said yes. Her blindfolded to a location where her family and friends were and surprised her with a vow renewal. And basically, she heard the vows she had been waiting for. And it made her and her little one teary eyed.
Oh, that little baby was so choked up.
She reminded me of Trees.
Look, yeah, I was gonna say she must be a little Pisces. I see.
It clearly wasn't a surprise because Tisha was already dressed for the vow renewal. She had the vows ready. She was on go. So it clearly was not a surprise for her.
Right.
The family's wish was that they stay together till, like they said, death do them part. And Zeruiah said that she just hopes that they don't have too many kids. And we actually saw a smile for the first time.
I said that same thing. I said, oh my God, we got a smile out of Zeruiah. What in the world?
I said, okay, well, maybe it ain't all so bad. Okay, because we actually got a smile out of her. The update is Keith hopes to get permanent custody of Damari. And Tisha got arrested for forgery and identity theft shortly after filming ended, and the case is ongoing. We also have a update on Bianca. She's in a new relationship with somebody who's never been in prison. Daniel has completed his 90-day treatment program and was released from jail, but of course he lost the job and the apartment and is a resident in a sober living facility.
I tell you, I was actually really happy about that. And that sounds really terrible.
It depends on why you were happy.
For Daniel, because he got his karma.
I figured that's why you.
I love when karma spin the block.
I was like, are you happy because he's getting treatment or are you happy because it's karma?
Oh, I guess I can say both. But yeah, y'all. So thank y'all so much for tuning in and hanging out with us this season of the love that happens after the lockup. If you guys have not already, please go ahead and do us a favor and hit that like button.
Make sure you comment.
Make sure that you guys subscribe.
And you hit the notification bell.
And make sure you're following us on all the platforms. It's the TikTok, the Twitter, the Facebook, the IG, and the Lemonade, and the Blue Sky. And yeah, y'all, we will catch you next season. But until then, meantime, between time, y'all know Real Housewives Potomac is back. Y'all know we deep in our reasonable doubt bag, which I just absolutely am obsessed with now. And as you know, you can catch me for Beyond the Gates for my daily recaps. So yeah, y'all, we will catch you next season. Y'all be good. Be safe. Bye-bye.
Good night.